good morning, coffee lovers, and welcome to Morning Brew, where we stir up essential conversations to help you sip smarter. So today we're brewing up a really hot topic, how to choose the right organizations for your charitable donations. And of course, in today's world filled with hackers and scammers and phishing, all of them lurking like coffee thieves, it's critical to ensure that your hard-earned beans are going to genuine causes. And that's where United Way comes in, a brewing powerhouse in the donation world, known for its robust commitment to transparency and a whole lot of integrity. The local organization has always served as a very reliable filter, making sure that every organization that they support is vetted and trustworthy. So that's what we're talking about today. And joining us today is Peggy Duncan. She's the Executive Director of United Way. She's going to pour us a cup of knowledge on how they keep the donation process steeped in security. So grab your coffee for a lesson in charitable contributions. Thank you so much, Peggy, for joining us today.
Good morning, Mindy. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You know, working in the news industry, Peggy, we are always reporting on hackers, scammers, organizations that, try to do their very best in just getting people to click that one little button to get all of their personal information, their banking information. And there's so many good people in the world, everyone wanting to help with donations, especially now with efforts to raise money for the disasters in Florida with Hurricane Helene and now Hurricane Milton. And we all need to be really careful with where we donate to, because we don't want to get robbed of our money. United Way has been in Laredo for 75 years of doing a fantastic job of raising money for local agencies. And I really wanted to talk to you about how you all have been able to make sure that the agencies that you choose are viable agencies. So I want to talk about all of that. But before we get to all of that, I want to talk about you, Peggy, because a lot of people don't realize that you are and have been the behind the scenes person for United Way for
35 years.
35 years. Now, you and I met, we've been really good friends, very dear friends, since we both moved back into town. And I moved back to Laredo after college in 1992, took a job with UISD. You came back after you graduated also, took a job with United Way, and you've never gone anyplace else since coming back. Let's talk a little bit about your journey and why it is that you have felt so compelled to stay with United Way for 3 decades, more than 3 decades.
It has to be the blessing of working with so many different people. You know, I get to work with a board of directors, right? 40 different people, leaders in the community. And I get to work with over 20 organizations that provide services in the community. And that's the driving force, what part of the United Way is that we have a committee that visits all of the agencies when they're applying for funding. And when we go to those agencies and we hear the stories from the children at the children's home or the students at CIS that benefit from the program, it's rewarding and heartbreaking when you see as little kids, what they go through already. Life is difficult enough, and to hear them so little going through these problems, but yet they have hope with agencies that are providing services. So I have to say that's my driving force, Mindy, is that knowing that we're making a difference in lives.
Yeah. You are a Laredoan, born and raised, graduated from
St. Augustine
High School
and St. Mary's University in San Antonio.
I was just going to ask, and after you received your degree from St. Mary's, you came home, got the job with United Way. This was 1989.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I came back to Laredo in 1991 and then took a job with UISD as their PIO in 1992. And that's when we met. Now, in the time that you've been with United Way over the 3 decades, you have seen you've seen recessions, you've seen the trials and tribulations of donations and going down, going up. I remember when we made the goal for the very first time ever of $1 million.
$1 million baby.
Yes, and all of us were like, oh my gosh, how are we going to raise $1 million? I remember that being a milestone for United Way. Tell us a little bit about how you've been able to weather the storm throughout the decades.
You know, we've had...
And motivate people. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you've been able to motivate your board to also weather the storm, and that's very impactful.
Well, because of the need. You know, we see the need of the agencies and the services they provide, and it's the driving force. We're not doing it about us. We're doing it about helping the people in need. And the board sees that. And, you know, even if we have to go a little bit more, or we have to pull funding from another place to be able to provide the support for the agencies, we do it. You know, COVID was very difficult, right? A lot of agencies didn't get funding to be able to provide services. They didn't have special events. And we were very blessed. You know, we had people come out that had not given. It was the first time in my history with United Way that we got a $240,000 donation so that we could keep doing what we needed to do in our community.
Wow.
And it was an individual who gave it. And so, yeah, I cried on the phone and I said, thank you so much. You don't know what this means for our community. But because during the time we were also a call center for 211, you heard the people calling, I don't know what to do, I'm afraid, and providing that support, that was so easy with the additional income assistance that we got from actually several, even United Way Worldwide, donated or gave us money to help the community. So
wow.
It has been ups and downs, and you know, we try our best. When we see one area decreases, that's when another area increases. Like at times when we've had struggle with the local economy, the federal employees come in and to the rescue, right? Other times it's the federal that's having problems with whatever's going on.
They do furloughs and things
exactly.
like that. Yeah.
And that's when the community comes in to pick up the need. And our corporations as well. We started a couple of years ago special events. We hadn't been doing special events. We rely mostly on payroll deduction.
Right.
You know, it's everybody putting into that kitty that makes the difference, right? Mm-hmm. And that's how we started originally, a community chest. Mm-hmm. Everybody putting together to be able to help out the different organizations providing services. And so that's what we still do today. And the majority of the funds that we get, about 72%, come from employee donations.
Wow.
Everyday employee donations.
Wow. I wanted to note that you also run the campaign for, like you just mentioned a little bit ago, you've got the federal government, you've got a state, and then you have like the individual school
United
districts
Way.
and things like that. So you have a combined effort going on all simultaneously.
Well, it's a little different now. The federal campaign changed a little bit, and so that it's run now out of through the federal department. The Office of Personnel Management has a different group running it, but we participate in it. And so it's harder to get out to the federal employees and do a presentation to them, but they can always call us and we'll be more than happy to go out there and do a presentation, because there are a lot of federal employees in our community and they receive services, especially when there's difficult times, and we rely on them. We need them to support our campaign as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to take a quick break, Peggy. When we come back, we're going to continue talking to Peggy about her journey, her 30-something year journey with United Way. We're also going to talk about the agencies that they are supporting this year, what their goal is this year, and then we're going to meet later on in the segment, we're going to meet this year's president. Every year there's a different president who is in charge of that year's campaign. We're going to talk to her and we're going to talk about some of the events that they have going on this year. So stay with us, grab your coffee, and we'll be right back.
Why pay a monthly fee? Free checking at IBC.
Welcome back, everyone, to Morning Brew. Once again, we are talking about United Way, specifically about your hard-earned dollars and making sure that whoever you choose to donate your money to is going to a viable and vetted organization, especially in today's world of scammers and hackers. We need to make sure that who we choose to donate to is safe. So with that, welcome back, Peggy. Thank you so much for sticking around. So I would imagine that every year you probably are inundated with agencies or organizations that wish they could be a United Way agency. Tell us about the process of becoming a United Way agency, who you accept, who you deny, and how you go about doing that.
So we have a committee that's called the Admissions and Allocations Committee, and that committee is charged with reviewing applications, doing site visits for our agencies, and then recommending to our board agencies for admittance and funding. I always tell people that it's like a judicial system. There's checks and balances, and it's three-tier. People think, oh, Peggy doesn't like me, so that's why we don't get funded. And no, I have nothing to do with the vote. It's a committee that then takes it to our executive committee. They can approve it or send the recommendations back to committee. If they approve it, then it goes to the board of directors, and then the board of directors approves it or sends it back to committee. Same thing. So it's never one person that decides. It is a committee, group of board members, volunteers that review the applications and do it. And we have maybe about 15 to 20 people on the committee. The agency's application starts maybe like the second week of February. We do a preparation workshop explaining how to fill out all the forms. Then there's a deadline to get it in. The site visits, they have to have a location for us to be able to tour so that we see the services that are being provided.
So it can't be some kind of online virtual organization. They have to have a bricks and mortar place that provides the service.
Yes, where somebody can go, open door to be able to receive service. We also then, we have what is their presentation. They have about 30 minutes to present their program. And some agencies may be overall funding, and others may be program specific, that they're looking for a specific service to fund. And so the committee looks at that, right? And we also look at community needs. What are the needs of the community? Where we see a lot of people calling and looking for assistance for as well, and through our agencies as well. And not everybody makes it, right? One of the first things that we see is that agencies have to have been in existence at least 3 years, because the application itself asks for 3 years of history.
And I would imagine that 3 years it gives the community or your donors a good sense of their viability, their credibility. Are they just a fly-by-night, or have they proven themselves?
Well, and part of the application is budgets. And some agencies don't have budgets. They're working on month to month just based on whatever comes in. And that's kind of like a red flag as well. Is that shady. You want to make sure that they have the checks, right? The checks and balances. And part of it also is an annual audit, a review, depending on the amount of revenue that they get for their 990, their IRS form. So those are requirements as well. And so if they don't have it, we know that's already going to be a challenge for the organization to be able to provide it. Right. But those are those checks and balances that we want to make sure that they have. The other thing we do is that as soon as we get the application, we go online and we verify that there's no issues with the IRS, that it's cleared all their requirements. We also look at the state comptroller to see that all the forms are filed, or if there's a compliance issue, we notify them immediately. This is what's still pending. You're missing this with the state comptroller. And so we do checks and balances as we're reviewing applications as well.
There's nothing better sounding than hearing checks and balances when it comes to organizations that take money from people, because you will need to make sure that the donations are going to a viable place. So that's all music to everyone's ears, I'm sure.
Well, and we take it seriously because we're stewards of your money. So we need to make sure that the agencies are accountable for the services that we're funding, that they're providing.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, Peggy, and for our viewers, I want to introduce Sister Isidra. Sister, you've been sitting here very quietly, but you have such a wonderful story. And Sister Isidra, you represent one of the agencies that United Way funds. You represent Sacred Heart Children's Home. You have been with Sacred Heart for quite some time, and Sacred Heart has been one of the agencies funded for many years. Since you started 75 years ago. You have such a beautiful story, Sister Isidra. I would love for you to tell us a little bit about how you started with Sacred Heart.
Well, I'm getting to the point where I'm not remembering a lot, but I started at Sacred Heart when I was 11 years old.
Wow.
My mother needed for us to be, she needed help, and she asked, one of the sisters used to be a religious there at Sacred Heart. That was my aunt, and she told my mom about Sacred Heart. So my mom talked to the superior, and they helped us out. It was myself and my brothers and sisters. So we stayed there. I stayed there at Sacred Heart since from 11 to 18 when I graduated from Nixon High School.
Go Mustangs.
Yes. Pure Mustangs, yes. The spirit is still there. And so I graduated, and in that summer, I joined the sisters at the congregation.
Wow.
I really saw that I don't know, what moved me was their service to us. Being not part of my family, they were helping us a lot more than my family.
Wow.
My family on the side of my mom and my dad helped my mom at that time. So we stayed there. I loved it. I enjoyed being there with the sisters. I liked helping them out, whatever they had to do. And so I really got served through the children's home, and I understand it was through the United Way.
Right.
We've been here in Laredo since 1907, so it's been quite some years.
Wow.
And I thank God for that, because He's been the one who has guided our congregation to live here at Sacred Heart and serve the children of Laredo. And through God, we have gotten the help of all the people of Laredo, the citizens from surrounding places, United Way, who has been back there. I was thinking, when I was driving over here, thinking that we have 117 years here in Laredo. For 42 years, the sisters would have to go door to door asking for help, to be able to keep the children, to help them out. And that time, it was one sister to a lot of children. It wasn't like today. We have to have only 1 to 8 sisters because of the rules of the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. So then I admire my sisters who were started at the very beginning, and I think for 42 years they begged, and now we have 75 years, which we have asked the United Way, and we have been able to qualify, because it's not like we have 75 years, just pass it on. No, it has been every year we have to make an application, we have to apply, we have to abide by their rules. They have prerequisites, we have to meet them. And thank God we have qualified so far, and we hope next year we qualify again. And it really helps our whole program at the Sacred Heart Children's Home.
Wow.
I always tell Peggy when we go do, and we tell the people when we go do presentations, it's like, we get donations. I cannot say we thank even the people who take us a loaf of bread, because for us, he's a benefactor or she's a benefactor. No matter how much you take us, you are part of us, and you are included in our prayers. And I tell Peggy, the United Way for us is like our monthly check, we are sure we're going to get something. Without for sure, the grants, we don't know. You don't know until they give you, they let you know that that you did qualify. And then the donations come in, and you never know who's going to send it.
Exactly.
Right? Because maybe somebody will send it today, and tomorrow they won't send it. So, but we stand firm when we get the help from the United Way.
Because you know that you're always going to get it. You can always rely on that.
Yes.
Well, that's part of the thing, Mindy, is that in order for them to get their monthly allocation, they have to provide us a service report and a financial report that they've used the money and the number of people that they've helped. So that's why, and we make sure their allocation is all year long to make sure they have funds to provide services all
For
year
all
long.
year long.
And because payroll deduction comes in monthly,
Right,
right?
right.
It's not all at one time. So it's all
So every agency can depend on their monthly allocation that way to
Allocations.
last over the
for
year.
the year, yes.
Very systematic, and it makes complete sense. I appreciate your story, sister. Thank you so much. It's beautiful, and you are beautiful for being in
you.
our community. Thank you for all you do for the kids at Sacred Heart. We're going to take a quick break, but we will be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back, everybody, to this episode of Morning Brew. We are talking to United Way. We're learning a little bit more about United Way and how they ensure that our donated funds are going to viable organizations in town, making sure that our money is safe and sound. So with that, I'd like to introduce this year's president of United Way, Erica Benavides Garcia. Thank you for taking on the helm of United Way for this year. I also want to commend you on getting the memo of wearing red and black because that was not planned at all. But, you know, we were thinking we were on the same brainwave, and we decided this was going to be the color for today. So welcome, Erica. And, you know, once again, you have decided to take on the presidency of United Way for this year. You are a past educator with United ISD. You were saying that you retired after 28 years,
28 years
of being an educator.
Yes.
Before we get started with your story, Erica, Peggy, every year a new president is selected, somebody who maybe has worked their way up through the ranks of volunteering.
Yes.
How do you choose a president? How do you choose the person that's decided to raise $1 million or more?
So first they have to be willing.
Very
Because
important.
not everybody is willing to
Take on.
carry that load.
It's a lot of responsibility.
And it's
Pressure.
more than just 1 year, because they serve as president-elect, right? Shadowing the president the first time.
Okay.
Then president, and then they serve as advisor to the next president
Wow.
as past president. So it's a 3-year commitment.
And that doesn't even count the years that they might have spent as a committee chair for one of the
yes.
committees, because it's not like they can just get started and be
As a president or president-elect, no.
Exactly.
Yes.
So this is a road, Erica, that you, along with obviously 74
Yes.
other presidents, have decided to take on, kind of like a passion, if I can say. You
It
know.
is a passion. It really is. You have to really believe. You have to believe that the hard work that you are putting in is paying off. That all the outreach that you do because you really are helping. You have to have that belief in your heart to really raise what we need to raise to help all of our agencies. You know, I think that growing with the United Way, I think, is essential to becoming the president or the leader of that organization, because you do see the need of all of the agencies, of the 20 agencies, the same way we just heard Sister Isidra a little while ago. Every agency has their story, and every story is as important, you know? So when you see that, you think, what can I do, or I must do, you know, to help our community, our people in every way. And it's in every area, Mindy. You know, you're talking about health in the health services, youth and education. You're talking about government. You're talking about like every area in Laredo, from human beings to animals, you know, even our pets. We're helping to take care of everybody. And I think what the beauty of the United Way is, what you all have been talking about, is that your dollar goes a long way. It helps everyone in our community, because sometimes you don't know. You want to give everywhere you go, and it's hard because you can't.
Yeah.
Because it's
you're limited with your
yes,
funds.
I was going to say times are tough right
yes,
now.
they are, and like we tell our children, money doesn't grow on trees.
That's right. That's
Exactly.
right. So know that your dollar is helping our pets. Your dollar is helping at Gateway to in the dental area.
Yes.
Your dollar is helping at the Sacred Heart. Your dollar is helping at Casa. You're helping Boy Scouts. You're helping Girl Scouts. SCAN, CIS. I mean, as an educator, we used so many agencies. I mean, these agencies are truly essential in our everyday lives. I don't think people really understand that. So I think that this organization, with your dollar, it's going a very long way.
Right.
Just with the South Texas Food Bank.
Yeah.
Especially now with grocery
Yes,
prices
yes.
as high as they are.
Yes.
Wow.
And so, you go to the grocery store, you go to the grocery store on the weekend, it's like $150.
And you only have 7 items in your
Yes.
bag.
You know that with $150, you can feed a family of 4 for a year.
Wow.
Through the South Texas Food Bank. So that's what I'm trying to say, is that, you become the president or the leader because it's a passion. It's a passion to help because that it's so important.
So when you go to companies and you're talking to them about United Way, or you go to a school and you're talking to teachers, you believe it, and you have to believe what you're doing to be able to
Yes.
to carry on the mission.
And I think that's why it's always important for us, and that's what I always tell Peggy. It's so important that we go to when they're doing their campaign, so that they really know, because everybody's asking for money. Because everybody needs money right now, especially after COVID. There's the organizations are back in full force, and so I think it's important that they know what the United Way does, what we stand for, how long we've been here, how important it is about the vetting, that that every organization that we fund is not that it's real, is that it is vetted, that that they're doing the right thing with their
Right.
monies.
Right.
So your hard-earned dollar is not just going to get squandered away somewhere.
Right.
Exactly. And so I do like going out in the community and talking to people and letting them know what the United Way is all about.
I love that. What's your goal for this year?
$1 million.
$1 million.
Yes,
Another
$1
million
million.
baby.
Yes.
Well, you've got some events that are coming up before we get to the end of the year. Let's talk a little bit about those and how folks can get involved with these events if they'd like to participate, and as a volunteer for United Way. How can we touch on that too? But let's start with the events you have coming up.
We have 2 events coming up in October. On the 19th, we have a bowling tournament. Let's roll with it.
That's how we roll.
That's how we roll.
Okay,
So we have
cool.
a bowling tournament on that Saturday, and then the next Saturday, on the 26th, we have a 5K run.
With us,
Yes,
with KGNS,
with
we've partnered with
KGNS.
United Way.
Yes, and
Yeah.
so we're very excited about that too, and looking forward to. This is our first time that we ever have a bowling tournament.
Yes.
But we're looking forward to it. But our 5K is always a blast, and you've been there. I mean, we have
it
a
is
good
fun.
time, and it's for
and
a
this
good
year,
cause.
because it's so close to Halloween, we're hoping that we've got runners that are coming out in costume.
Yes,
Still a
yes.
little Halloween costume. That would be
Yes.
fantastic. Let's start with the bowling tournament. How can folks get involved with that?
Okay, well, I'm glad to say that we are sold out.
Oh,
Our
okay.
teams,
Yes.
but there still is room for sponsorship, lane
Yes.
Okay.
sponsorship. So if somebody wants to give, to the organizations, they can do it in that way.
Are y'all taking door prizes as well in case?
Yes,
I
we
know
are.
that there's
Taking
always door prizes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. So if
Okay.
anybody's
A little
interested,
bit of swag or something.
Yes,
That always
They can
works.
always contact us at the United Way,
Yes,
right, Peggy?
yes.
And we'll give you the phone number before we head out.
Okay, perfect. Now let's talk about the 5K. We're
Yes.
excited about that one because I think is this our third or fourth 5K that we partnered with you
I wanna
on?
say it's the
I
third
think
year.
it's the third one. Yes. So obviously, renters are encouraged to register. We're taking
Yes.
registration right now. You can do that online. For more information on how to go about doing that, of course, call United Way and you all will give them the online registration.
Even on our website, the QR should already be there so that they can
perfect.
go online and register for the run. Run
Okay.
or walk. I would not run, I would walk.
That's okay. That's okay. Walking's just as good as running. We'll take
Yes.
that as
And
well.
we are going to have it at Laredo College this year again, so we're
Okay.
excited about that.
Oh,
you
that's
know,
pretty.
And we went out there a couple of weeks ago, right, Peggy?
Yes.
To go check out the
route and
route.
and we will have agencies out there providing things for the kids to do, face painting. Laps will be out there with their mobile van for the adoption van for pets as well. Salvation Army will have their canteen out there as well to provide some coffee and some biscuits for us. So we invite everybody to come out and support a great cause, right?
Yes.
Walk.
Absolutely.
Walk.
It's healthy and you're supporting a great cause.
That's
Yes.
right.
Oh, ladies, well, thank you all so much for joining me today. And it's just really delving into United Way and how important it is and how viable the organization has been. 75 years of success. Hats off to you, Peggy.
Yes.
And I know my dear friend Peggy, you've been a trooper these last 35 years of heading up
35.
United Way. We're so proud of you. We love you dearly, and you do an
Thank you.
amazing job for Laredo. And how many more years do you have? No retiring anytime soon.
Until I'm
No.
6 feet under.
Okay, sounds good. I don't think Laredo will let you retire.
know.
No. You are definitely a jewel in our community.
Thank you,
And
Mindy.
Erica, congratulations to you.
Thank
and
you so
thank you for
much.
taking on the presidency. We know
Thank
you're
you.
going to hit your goal of $1 million.
Well, we're going to work as hard
Yeah.
as we can and do whatever we have to do.
We do.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, ladies, for,
Thank you so
for
much.
coming on
Thank you.
Morning Brew. And that does it for this episode of Morning Brew. We're so glad that you stuck around with us for this great, great topic on United Way. Until the next time we meet, enjoy the brew.